Hello, everybody.
Hey.
And welcome to the White Hatter YouTube News Show. I'm Brandon.
I'm Darren. And guess who's presenting today? We both are, because we're both wearing ties right now. You just did one. You had like over 100 students, you said?
Yeah.
And how many questions did they ask?
Over 100.
And then I got a high school here in about an hour and a half that I'm doing for the cyberbullying and sexting presentation, which is really kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah. So
all kinds of neat changes going on here at the school too, right?
There are.
Like some really cool things. Some other things that I'm springing on him as well. He's going, Dad, and I'm going, oh well.
Well, let's get into news because
let's talk more.
You got a presentation going on.
Right.
So we got to get through the news topics so we can go into a live presentation.
Okay.
All right. Okay. In the news.
Can I just say one word?
What?
Jib.
Well, now you just.
No, I just said, that's all I said.
It'll take a while for that to actually be functioning.
I just said one word. I didn't say anything else. I just said one word.
Oh boy. Okay. Getting to the news.
In the news.
First news topic, piece of malware going on the internet.
I heard about this one.
WhatsApp Pink.
Yes.
Which is basically an Android skimmed version of WhatsApp, which is
what kind of phone?
Android.
What kind of phone?
Android.
Does it apply to iPhones?
No. WhatsApp Pink, which is a fake version of the actual WhatsApp app. Basically, once you install it, it's a Trojan, so it's a virus. Allows the attacker to reply to messages received on WhatsApp, Signal, Skype, Viber, and Telegram.
Yeah.
And replies link to malicious websites to further distribute hacks.
There's no doubt that this is targeting towards younger people, right? Like you can just
see the pink version, like the iPhone Red.
I know,
right? The red version.
It's kind of being targeted to younger people. I'm actually surprised the Android store didn't pull it. Did they pull it?
It's pulled now.
It's pulled now.
But I mean, like it was still out there.
Yeah, there were lots and lots and lots of downloads. So if it's on your phone, what should they do?
Delete it.
Delete it. Now, even if they delete it, does it mean that their phone is safe?
The Android's like a computer, most likely. So, I mean, there could be problems elsewhere. So, I mean, just running an antivirus program on an Android.
Can you do a factory reset on an Android phone?
Yeah, you can. You probably don't want to do that and reset your phone.
Oh, okay.
Installing an antivirus program should help protect you from anything like that.
You hope.
You would hope.
Yeah, you would hope.
Yeah.
But here's another really good example of why Android store is so vulnerable, right? Because they're getting better.
They are getting better.
They're getting better, but they don't have the same checks and balances necessarily as the...
because the Apple Store is too restrictive.
Yeah, well, but with restrictive comes protection. To a degree. I mean...
And then it allows Apple to have a monopoly over their system, which is why they're being sued all the time right now.
No, whatever.
Apple has 2
I'm
lawsuits.
an Apple fanboy.
I know.
They have 2 lawsuits?
Yeah, there's a couple lawsuits about the right to ownership over software they bought on Apple Store.
I know, I read about that
and the
too.
right for Apple to delete your account, even though you've invested thousands of dollars, to delete it right away without any notification or any reason.
Yeah, I read about those things too. It's interesting, right? Like, don't get me wrong, I do think that some of these companies like Apple are getting too big, and so as a result of that, they're pushing out lower level players and kind of monopolizing.
Tile and
that's a good one, right?
And the AirTags.
It's going to be very interesting. To see what happens.
Didn't Tile submit a court order to about anti-competition something?
Yeah, I know.
Bye, Tile. Bye.
It's going to be very interesting, right?
How are they going to survive? Because now every iPhone becomes a beacon for the AirTags. And how many iPhones are there? A lot.
Yeah, I mean, because the iPhone is kind of taken over.
Only phones that have the Tile app become beacons. So only a small portion of the iPhone.
Maybe explain what a beacon is, so people who are watching us may not know what you're
off
talking
topic.
About, right?
So last week,
Apple. It's kind of on topic.
Oh, okay. Apple announced their new AirTags, which is their little microchip tracking Bluetooth signal chips.
Like Tile.
Like Tile, which you put in your purse, your keys, can't find it.
In your car.
You open your app, and it can direct you to where you misplaced your things.
What's the range on it though?
It's Bluetooth 5, so I think 40 feet.
So what if I lose my iPhone that I've got an iPhone thing on?
Well, how it works is that it integrates with all the other iPhones, and all other iPhones become beacons. So basically,
is that what we call a mesh network?
Basically. So if you walk by someone, so if you lose your keys, you have an AirTag attached to your keys, lose your keys, you go log on, you say, I misplaced my keys, send out a signal, and then any iPhone that's within range which is about 40 feet for Bluetooth, if I recall correctly, and they can walk by it, you'll get a notification. So it doesn't use GPS. It uses Bluetooth, but using the mesh network of all the other iPhones to do that. Now, Tile, which was the OG version,
OG stands for
original, which was the original version of this technology.
right.
It only works for other Tile users who have downloaded the Tile app.
Right.
So that's the problem. So I'm sure Android users will still use it, but the problem is how many people who have Tiles on iPhone will switch to using AirTags.
Will probably a stupid question. Will the iPhone version of Tile work with an Android device if you put a tag? Apple tag on an Android device.
I think so. That's not really.
So it only works
that's
within
not really
the Apple ecosystem.
That's not really Apple's thing.
Okay. I just wondered.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't think they announced that.
So what happens if I throw it in my car?
Well, you can say
somebody steals my car. Is a good example.
Yes.
If it's within the mesh network, it should pick it up, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you have an old, most newer cars, you have the ability to track it anyways.
Maybe stick one under my bicycle seat too, right?
Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah. Oh, very cool.
I mean, they're super small.
Yeah, they were really
and
small.
battery replaceable, which is like, really, Apple? That's kind of cool.
Which Tile doesn't allow you to.
They do now. They do now.
Because I have Tile.
The
right?
original ones do not. The new ones do, but the super thin ones don't. So, yeah.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah, interesting.
So that's that. Okay. That was
a little off topic, but on topic. What's the next one we got?
Next one. Unfortunately, there was another data breach on a dating website. This one in particular, dating website Manhunt, was hacked, and thousands of accounts were stolen, including passwords, email addresses, usernames, all involved in the data breach, which is a particular challenge for this website, given people maybe who don't want to be outed.
Yeah, what I thought about when I read about this one was Ashley Madison, right? Where everybody was fearful now because Ashley Madison was a site where if you're married, you can go and hook up with other people, right? Without maybe your spouse, partner knowing you're doing it. So this one, my fear is those who are using this site who maybe identify as LGBTQIA privately and not publicly, maybe information here can be used for the purpose of extortion, right?
Extortion, outing, harassment. So definitely a huge challenge. So I guess anyone, or you know anyone who is on the site, they did send out a forced password reset to users. They didn't specify how passwords were being saved, either encrypted or not. Now, given they didn't talk about that, is, not talk about something gives other intelligence. It's like, why did you not?
Yeah. Omission equals what we think.
Not often. But usually companies go, it's okay, passwords are encrypted.
Yeah.
But even if they are encrypted with the worst type of password, encryption, which can be broken, at the very least they say encrypted.
But although it's important for the passwords, right? But it still doesn't stop somebody from knowing because it's got their emails, which can lead to usernames and who the people actually are. If it's a little, if the person knows a little bit of OSINT skills to identify who these people are. Like if you're a high-level executive, maybe who hasn't come out as a result of being a part of the LGBTIA+ community, and all of a sudden I'm now connecting with you and saying, hey, listen, I got some guff on you. I'm going to make this public unless you put $100,000, right? Like, yeah, I could really, it's kind of what happened with Ashley Madison. That's the first thing that went through my mind. When I saw this, I went, yeah, username and passwords are issues. But I think the bigger issue for people are for those who haven't gone public, right? To say that they're a member of that community, right? So potentially being used as a weapon.
Yes.
Yep, for sure.
The next story.
This is a good one. Thank you, girlfriend.
Feds track down Capitol rioter with facial recognition hit on girlfriend's Instagram IG page.
Yeah, you know what? It's anybody who thinks.
Are they wearing the same hat? Yeah, they're wearing the same hat.
Who are? What?
The person identified.
Oh, they are too. Even better evidence. Good eye. Good eye. Anybody who thinks that the feds, either in Canada or United States, aren't using facial recognition is fooling themselves. Now, is facial recognition 100% effective? No, we've spoken about this, right? With, people were being arrested on warrants with facial recognition. Turned out it wasn't them.
Algorithms are biased.
Right. However, it's a good starting point. I mean, like you say, the person in that picture is wearing the same hat as the one who was at the riot. That's because that's what I'm going to call it. That's what it was a riot in Washington. So it kind of helps investigators go down a path to maybe identify who the person was. But hey, thank you, girlfriend. So once again,
very
anything
least,
you
don't
post
wear-
can be public, permanent, searchable, exploitable, copyable, shareable, sometimes for sale, right?
Yep.
At the very least, don't wear the same hat.
Don't wear the
You
same
idiot.
hat. Don't wear the same hat. At the very least. Next
Thank you,
is
girlfriend. Oh.
10,000 plus unpatched ABUS home alarm systems can be deactivated remotely. Now, primarily not a North American product, primarily in Germany, Switzerland, and Australia. That's primarily where these devices are located.
Okay.
However, I put this in the article. I know we don't have a huge audience in that market, but I just want to share with people that, your smart technology can potentially have some drawbacks.
And I think this is a big deal because one of the things I have been seeing a lot in ads in social media is, home security technology, the internet IoT technology. And there's a lot of cheap stuff out there on the market, right? And a lot of that cheap stuff is coming from places like Southeast Asia and that kind of stuff. And a lot of them do not have privacy by design built into them, right? So as a result of that, if you're looking at purchasing IoT technology to protect your home, go with a branded device, right?
You need to have something that has the ability to be updated, because at least what's interesting about this story is that, according to the article, unfortunately, the update process is not simple. The experts highlighted that the only users with special installer permissions can install firmware updates. But in many cases, the owners of these alarm systems don't have that because they're customers, and it was a company that installed it for them.
Right.
So, it kind of defeats the purpose of having an alarm system that someone just turns it off and then it's no longer activated. So, challenging, yes. Concern North America. Not a huge, not for this particular case, but just goes to show you have a smart alarm system or security system. If it's not properly updatable and that type of stuff, then there's risk.
With technology comes vulnerability. A little off topic, but on topic here. I've also seen an increase now in articles being written how car thieves have, and we saw this about 5 years ago actually, because I retired about 4 or 5 years ago. We started to see this, where they're now using technology where they get next to a home where they use an antenna to pick up the RFD of your car keys. Because a lot of people hang them right next to the door to the garage where the car is, and they're picking up the code, and then they're using that code to start the car that's in the driveway that they're going to steal and then drive away with it, right? So again, it's interesting that with the convenience of technology comes vulnerability. And it's this cat and mouse game all the time, right? So, so for people who have expensive cars with keys, maybe don't keep them in close proximity to where your car is, because we know these bad guys are using it.
Or do the old-fashioned Mr. Bean lock, where you have like a little, but it was a slider and a
Oh,
padlock.
yeah, that's right. That's right, on the car. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, on this little mini.
Yeah,
I remember that.
the three little ones.
Mr. Bean. Yeah, I remember Mr.
Yeah.
Bean. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
For sure. Interesting, though.
Yeah.
Right? But just when you're looking at purchasing things for home security devices, that includes locks now. Just go with a reputable company that allows you to update the firmware. Right?
Yes.
So important.
Yeah, support for smart devices is necessary. Last article. Interesting.
This is gonna bring
probably
up
a debate
good
topic.
debate.
Encrypted chat at Signal reveals flaws in Cellebrite equipment. So, as a refresher, what is Cellebrite? It's an Israeli built, designed device that allows primarily law enforcement to break into locked smartphones and collect data and siphon data that may be behind locked devices. I think Signal, Cellebrite, there was a report showing that Cellebrite now can access some Signal data that's been saved on the phone. Now, the Signal creator was going to go, okay, well, let's take a look at this. They got their hands on a device.
On a Cellebrite.
They didn't say how, though. Go figure. And they, as the hackers they are, they took a little peekaboo, and they found some interesting things. Apparently, the Cellebrite equipment doesn't properly protect itself from the devices that they are scanning.
So therefore,
they've developed a proof of concept idea that basically, when your phone gets plugged into a Cellebrite, it's locked, but they plug it in to siphon data. You can basically booby trap it in a way that interferes with the Cellebrite data extraction process.
This one is interesting, right? So, we know that a lot of law enforcement, military use Cellebrite, right? Like, if you remember the big shooting in the United States, at a bar, and the individual had an iPhone, and the FBI launched basically a court attack against Apple to get them to give them a backdoor to get into the device because they were concerned that there was a ton of information in there that they needed. And so it was making all the news, right? All the headlines that this was going to happen, and Apple was pushing back going, no, we're private, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden it went dark, right? And nobody was talking about it anymore. And so the word in the media was that, well, Cellebrite, which I'm very familiar with, had figured out a way how to get into the iPhones, right?
That's another interesting thing about this article, which we'll talk about, I guess, in a second.
Yeah. So, okay. So now the issue is, if as law enforcement, I've seized a phone legally, and then I have gotten a judicial warrant to access the data that is on the phone to collect evidence, and now you've put a booby trap on the phone that allows me to, as soon as I try to extract it using Cellebrite, it nukes the Cellebrite device that I have. Do we have in Canada a criminal mischief, as well as some other, there's some other charges under the criminal code now specifically to interfering with devices, electronic devices? My argument would be yes. Now, on the other side of the coin, if I had a phone that had this booby trap on it and somebody from government was trying to access, or anybody was trying to access my device using a Cellebrite without a warrant, would it be fair game for me to use something like that? Well, I would say yes, because you didn't have a judicial warrant to get in.
I guess it depends what it does. I mean, if it breaks the Cellebrite system, maybe, but if it just prevents it.
We don't know though, right?
Yeah, but with a warrant, you can, at least in Canada, right? With a warrant, you can be forced to provide your password to unlock anyways.
No, you can't.
No?
No, not in Canada. You can't be forced to give your password. No, you can't. Much like the U.S. A court can't order somebody to provide them, as far as I know, on current case law, to provide somebody with my password, right? They can't, as far as I know.
Can you have the person unlock it for you, not giving the password?
Can you what?
Can you give them the phone, have them unlock it, and then you seize the phone from
Yeah,
there?
because that's consensual, right? As long as it's informed consent.
Yeah, because you have a court order giving them, court order, you have to unlock the phone.
Well, I'm not going to. I don't, I am not aware of any case law that says that the accused has the right or can be ordered to provide a passcode to get into the device. Now, I might be wrong, but I follow this pretty closely.
Yeah.
And I'm not aware of anything like that at this point in time. So, I mean, but this is an interesting argument, right? Because you take the contra argument, you think it's fine.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I guess it depends what it does. I mean, if you booby trap it in a way that it breaks the Cellebrite system, okay, maybe not. But if it just prevents it, or maybe
if it puts up a wall,
or provides it false information, misleading information.
Well, then you're providing information that leads to. I still think that's a criminal offense. I still think that's a mischief, right?
No, you can have you have a warrant. Here's the phone. You can plug it in.
Yeah.
What you find is what you find.
Right.
There might be misleading information.
Like if they're just putting up a wall that prevents, if it identifies Cellebrite's trying to access and now it puts up a wall and nothing more, then I don't think we have an issue there anymore. But if Cellebrite now, as soon as it identifies, if Signal now identifies that Cellebrite is trying to access the phone and then sends malicious software into Cellebrite to screw up Cellebrite's ability to do what it does, well, then I think we have an issue. I think that is criminal.
Okay. What if it then just wipes the phone? Maybe then it triggers a self-destruct system.
Yeah, good question. I don't know on that one. Something tells me if it all of a sudden destroys the evidence that is there, could that be criminal in nature? Maybe. That would be a question for a lawyer that we would have to talk to, and we know a really good one to bounce that one off of, who specialize in the area of privacy and all that kind of stuff. But I think though, if Signal is designing a program that now attacks the Cellebrite device, once it registers that Cellebrite's trying to access, I think they're in for some problems.
Yeah, I'm looking at the article from the Signal creator, and if followed any app on a device that's subsequently plugged into Cellebrite and scanned, there are virtually no limits on the code that can be executed.
So what they're saying there, execute.
I'm sure Cellebrite will quickly build up some security firewalls to prevent. I'm sure that will happen. I'm sure they're actively working on it right now.
I'm sure they are, right? So if that's all they're doing is they're going to put a wall up to prevent Cellebrite from accessing, and now it becomes the cat versus mouse game again, right? Cat and mouse back and forth. But I think if they're going to execute any kind of program that now affects the Cellebrite device, I think they're in for a world of hurt legally. Just my thoughts.
Interesting. What's also interesting is that we also saw in the report how apparently they also found some of Apple's proprietary intellectual property allegedly inside the Cellebrite system.
Allegedly.
So, I mean, you were talking about how that case, the FBI was like kind of backed off. Well, because they probably there was a vulnerability identified by Cellebrite. Now, this brings it to a legal question.
Did Apple provide Cellebrite with that information?
We don't. Cellebrite. Apple
back,
has not really commented on this as of yet. But interesting because now is this a court matter for intellectual property? Because now this company is using Apple's source code, which is a big no-no.
I get it.
So if Apple sues people all the time, and if they don't do that, what kind of story does that tell?
I know it's going to be interesting, right?
So I think Apple's only move here is to then sue if they're
unless Cellebrite's got documents to say that Apple.
Unless they're in cahoots.
Exactly.
Then they're
not saying they are.
Could be. You never know.
We're not saying we are.
It's a possibility.
But how else would they have gotten the source code?
Well, they could just reverse engineer the iPhone.
I guess.
Which is doable. You can grab code, but it doesn't mean you have the legal authority, copyright authority to then use the code.
Interesting.
Without further approval. So that's also interesting as well.
Cat and mouse game, right? Spy versus spy. You do this, I'll do this.
Yeah.
You do this, I'll do that. Right? So it's constantly cat and mouse game, right? So
yeah.
Interesting show.
Interesting, yes.
Interesting show for sure. Gotta get ready. I'm about ready to go live here in about an hour.
All right.
Doing a high school, right? So
fantastic.
Looking forward to it. So, I'm Darren.
I'm Brandon. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on the White Hatter YouTube News Show.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.